All right, guys, welcome to the SLC Dunk Podcast. Things are a little different now with some changes with the SLC Dunk Podcast feed that Vox recently decided they're not interested in doing podcasts anymore. But guess what? We're still going to do this video podcast, and we'll see here and there if we keep doing this. But, it's mock draft season. The draft is coming up. The lottery is coming up. And if you're a Jazz fan, you have got to be pretty excited for what happens. I believe it's May 16th. And it's going to be a big day for a lot of teams because, if you jump to that number one in this draft, it's going to be awesome. It looks like we just lost Nate. So maybe we'll see if he comes back. If not, we will adjust on the fly. Oh, Nate's back. Okay, cool. So anyways, I'm here. You know me. I'm James Hansen. This is the Hoops Nerd channel, but this is the SLC Dunk Podcast. And I've got three of our best writers here with me today. Adam Bushman, who also does Jabber Jazz. We've got Zach Watts, who recently joined SLC Dunk. He's also part of the Hoops Nerd channel. And we've got Nate De La Cruz, DLC Batman. Or DLC, I can't remember what you are on SLC Dunk, Nate. I just know when we do it, it's DLC Jazz, I believe.
DLC Jazz, that's right.
There we go. So, all right, so guys, what we're gonna do today, for everyone who's watching, listening, we are gonna do a mock draft. It's not, you can tell already, it's not the most ESPN production value, but it's going to be pretty fun. We're gonna go through the first round and pick in order. We're going to basically pick for the teams, but I don't know if we're going to go too in depth. You guys can pick if you're picking for like Houston number 2, you can take that into account, or if you just want to kind of do your best player available, that's also fine with me. We did a randomization to start, and I get the number 1 pick. Next is Adam, next is Zach, and next is Nate. And so we will just dive right into this. And if you want a good reference, you can go to tankathon.com and go to their mock draft. It's really great. I know I use it all the time. But anyways, I have the number 1 overall pick. Drum roll. It's a pretty easy pick. It's going to be Victor Wembanyama. I don't know if anyone was too surprised by that pick. So let's say that the mock, like the lottery, it stays chalk. Detroit has to be just ecstatic because Victor Wembanyama is going to absolutely change whoever his team is on. And in my opinion, if you get Victor Wembanyama, I feel like you're probably going to win at least one championship just because he is that transformative of a player, and what he does on the court on both offense and defense, the fact that he will likely play literally every position on the floor and at an elite level is pretty wild. But anyways, Victor Wembanyama, number 1 overall. So next we have, next we have Adam Bushman. You have an interesting choice now because you're number 2. It's kind of when the draft starts, and you're on the board for Houston.
Yeah, so I feel like Houston is in need of some serious leadership on their team. Also considering that they need some scoring, defense at the center position. It would have been awesome if Houston had leapfrogged into that number 1 spot to draft Victor. It would have checked all the boxes and then some. At this juncture, though, I think I'm going to go a little against my own personal board and go with Scoot Henderson at number 2. I think he provides that leadership as your lead ball dominant guard. I think he will pair well with Jalen Green. I think he can set up Jabari Smith Jr. very well. I think he can, coexist really well with Alperen Şengün. He's going to, be able to get his own shot. I think he'll be able to complement the pace that they want to play at, but he'll get everybody kind of organized on the same page. So Scoot Henderson, number 2 to Houston, feeling pretty good about it.
Great pick. You can't really go wrong. It's either Brandon Miller or, well, I guess up to Zach what he does with number 3, but
let's see it.
So what are you doing, Zach? You don't get Scoot.
That's right. San Antonio's thrilled to get Brandon Miller at 3.
Brandon Miller.
Love the size. Guy that averaged about 20 points a game in college. Kind of a do-it-all forward, really high ceiling, and a pretty high floor. You got to be pretty thrilled if you're San Antonio to end up with this guy.
That's pretty fantastic pick for San Antonio. Honestly, if you get Brandon Miller at 3, you've got to be pretty excited, because for so long it felt like this was kind of a who gets Wembanyama, who gets Scoot, and then Brandon Miller really kind of jumped onto the scene in a big way. All right, so let's see, Nate. It's kind of a new tier. It kind of feels like there's 2 tiers that you go through. You go through like the Wembanyama, which is basically a tier of his own. Then you've got Scoot and Brandon Miller. To me, kind of feels like the second tier. And it feels like now we get really interesting. So anyways, number 4, Nate, who do you pick? You're on the board for, who is it? Charlotte.
Charlotte, yeah. This one's a tough one because it's tough to shy away from a guy like Cam Whitmore because Villanova's a good program, and I think he's got a chance to be in the NBA for a while. But I'm gonna go in this case with Cason Wallace for Charlotte.
Wallace, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're gonna trade LaMelo Ball at some point. I think his time there is.
They're trading him to the Jazz, right? Cross the fingers.
Danny Ainge here, willing to deal.
Yeah. Well, I just Michael Jordan sold the team, and so Cason I think is going to be waiting in the wings, but I think he's going to be a really good player overall. So that's just
you know what? Yeah. That's an interesting pick, because if you like Cason Wallace that much, I wonder if you could even trade back. It'd be interesting. If you were number 4, you like Cason Wallace more than like the Thompson twins. I wonder if there is someone out there that might be willing to move up. All right, cool. Cason Wallace. You know what? I do love Cason Wallace, to be honest. All right, now I'm on the board, and I'm picking for the Portland Tankers, Trailblazers. Second year in a row, they've just unashamed tanking, just in an incredible way. Let's see. So, number 5, I have to say, I think if I'm Portland, I got to be pretty ecstatic, because one of the high upside guys is now available, and I think it's hard not to pick Amen Thompson. I have to say the Thompson twins to me are some of the most exciting picks, but they're also some of the most scary picks. They come from Overtime Elite, which is a new league basically that was created by Overtime, which is a media company. They are about as athletic a player as you will ever watch. They are insanely athletic, but sometimes the shooting and even the form is just it's scary, because there's kind of like a super high ceiling, but there's also a low floor there. But I you know what? If Amen Thompson hits and he becomes great, and you kind of combine him with Shaedon Sharpe, I think Portland would be pretty excited. All right, so next we've got Adam at number 6 for, let's see, the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, this one is interesting. For the Orlando Magic, I kind of pegged that they're in need of a two-way guard. I think that's their big hole. They've got Paolo Banchero at one of the forward spots. They've also got several other really good players that have really shown out. Franz Wagner, even the guy that they got in the Vucevic trade from Chicago, that has been really awesome for them. So, they also need some passing that I think could really unlock some of their potential. So with Amen off the board, I think I'm going to have to go with his twin brother, Asor Thompson, at this spot. Feeling pretty good about it at 6. I think he's going to complement a lot of the athletes they already have on the team. I think he's not quite as special a passer as Amen, but you're talking within 90% as far as I'm concerned. And I think his shot will be a lot better than Amen's. And so I'm feeling pretty good about Asor to the Orlando Magic. I think he'll unlock some really great things for them next year.
They got to be, I actually love that for them. I mean, he can play off of Banchero, like you said, play off of Franz. I mean, that's like a fantastic thing. All right, Zach, you are next up at number 7. Let's see. You are picking for the Indiana Pacers.
All right. Pacers, we're looking for a running mate with Tyrese Halliburton, and we've got Ben Mathurin in our building, and Miles Turner had a renaissance season. I think the guy that slots in perfectly with that lineup and one of my favorite guys in this draft is Jarris Walker, and getting him at 7 feels pretty good.
That's a nice pickup for them.
Yeah, great two-way guy. He improves their defense from day one, and yeah, I think he's a great fit there. So pretty great pick for Indiana to get him a 7, I think.
It hurts my heart as a Jazz fan, to be honest. I'm kind of like hoping.
Love him to slip to 9. It would be amazing for the Jazz.
Yeah, Jarris is my guy. I have him at the top of the tier after Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson. I think he'd be amazing to fall to the Jazz. But yeah, good pickup for Indiana. Makes a lot of sense there.
Great pick. All right, let's see. So Nate, you are up, and you are picking. Let's see, at number 8 for the Wizards. You are up.
Yeah, I think at this point, if you're the Wizards, you got to go with Cam Whitmore. I think he's the can't miss pick at this point, coming out of Villanova, especially after you sent off Hachimura to the Lakers. That's just, I think you go conventional here if you're the Wizards and take the next best player.
Well, that's a nice pick. Cam Whitmore is someone I loved before the college season started. He got injured to start the year, so we didn't really get to see it felt like it was an unfair season to Whitmore. I actually think he's going to be better than we think, just because he was playing through injury. But nice pickup for the Wizards. Well, you know what? This kind of it's funny. I host the show, and I guess I got the 1 pick, and I get to pick for the Jazz. At number 9, I think the Jazz are pretty happy because I think a guy they would be happy to bring on is now available. And I am going to pick Anthony Black for the Jazz. I think his size and defensive potential is huge. The Jazz had a top 5 offense, and by the end of the year, I think they were top 10, but for like the majority of the season, they were top 5 offense, but the defense really struggled. I think Anthony Black would be just a home run. I'm actually pretty excited that Anthony Black is there at 9, just for the Jazz. Just, you go watch clips of him. I love the fire he plays with. Like, that's one thing I love is when I see a guy that just is out there, he's got that dog in him, as they say, and he just goes after people. Willing, good passer, great size. So anyways, Anthony Black for the Jazz at 9.
Yeah, I love that one.
Oh, I'm telling you what, if that's how it pans out for the Jazz, I'm pretty stoked. If that would have been a tough one, because if Anthony Black was taken, then I'm kind of picking between Case and Wallace and I think Taylor Hendricks, but so I'm pretty excited about that. All right, Adam Bushman at 10. You are picking for the tanking Dallas Mavericks. Who's going to play with Luka?
Yeah, the Dallas Mavericks are a really interesting one. They're certainly going to try to bring back Kyrie Irving. They don't want to lose that asset, and they've already got Luka Doncic, so they're already very ball dominant. And the things that I've kind of pegged them as needing are they need some two-way players and they need some elite finishers. When you have Luka Doncic, who's as skilled a passer and creator as he is, when he starts drawing those double teams, you need guys who are going to consistently finish some plays for you. And I think that's where I'm going to be selecting Taylor Hendricks for Dallas. I know that this is kind of a conventional pick in that a lot of the industry has kind of been earmarking Taylor Hendricks to Dallas, but I just think it makes a lot of sense. He's got some upside that you can tap into long-term, but then immediately playing with Luka, I think he's going to put a lid on the rim, which is something they desperately need. And he's also going to be a great finisher out of the corner 3 and as a roll man. So I'm pretty excited with Taylor Hendricks to Dallas.
Nice. He would fit perfectly with Luka too. Just a perfect guy to play off of him. All right, let's see. So 11 for the Orlando Magic is, that's Zach.
All right. I think the Magic here, this is kind of, I feel like we're getting to another maybe tier break a little bit, but I think if I'm Orlando and the draft breaks this way, I'm pretty stoked that Grady Dick has fallen to 11. I think getting that great shooting into your organization is a great call. I I think they've got so many great playmakers between Franz Wagner and the potential Ben Caro, and Markelle Fultz has picked things up the back half of this year. I think having just a knockdown 3-point shooter out on the floor would be a great addition for them. So yeah, I think I'd go Grady Dick if I was the Magic there.
I think he's also a sneaky two-way player. I'm much higher on his defense than conventional wisdom. I think he'll play nicely there.
Nice pick. And they do need shooting, so he's kind of a perfect fit for them. All right, let's see. Number 12, we've got Nate. You are picking for the OKC Thunder.
Yeah, this one's tough. I think OKC, they kind of been searching for. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but someone to go with him in the backcourt. So I kind of agree. You get to this point, and it's like another tier, just like was just said. But I would go with young upside, young potential. Since it's such a young team, I would go with Keontae George.
Keontae George, nice pickup. Man, if they get him, he had been in the top 10 for a long time, and he's kind of fallen a little bit. That's a pretty nice pickup for them. He's kind of like a possible, like, kind of Donovan Mitchell kind of type player, a little smaller, but has the potential to be a big-time scorer. So nice. All right, let's see. It's my turn. I am picking at 13 for the Toronto Raptors. Toronto. Okay, let's see. I got to see who's on the board here. You know what? The thing about them is they have been drafting big, long guys for a long time. Their whole team is basically 6'6" or taller. They may be losing their point guard. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head right now. But let's see. So just on the board. And you know what? They might be losing their head coach too. I'm not quite sure what's going to go on. And we got that thing from Shams saying like there may be big changes. I can't remember if it was Shams or who said that, but there may be big changes coming. Maybe they trade off some of their bigger names and they go with a little bit more upside. This is a tough pick. There's not at this point. It is kind of that new tier. You know what? I really like him. I think he had an underwhelming year, but man, if you go look at him in high school and him coming out of high school and then he got injured at Arkansas, I'm going to pick Nick Smith Jr. for them. Okay. That could possibly be a potential replacement point guard, or just at worst, Nick Smith is going to be kind of an elite sixth man, I think. And so I think he fits nicely with them. And then he has upside to me. Like he kind of looks a little like CJ McCollum to me when I watch him play, like a guy that can kind of score. And he actually looks like he has a little bit more playmaking than him. So, all right, let's see. Adam, you are up at 14 for New Orleans.
Yeah, there's a guy on my board who is actually still in that tier 3 along with Hendricks, the Thompson twins, Whitmore, Walker, all those guys. There's still one guy left in that tier for me, but picking for the New Orleans Pelicans really wouldn't be a very good fit there, in my opinion. I think what the Pelicans are looking for is a two-way big. I think they need somebody who can play alongside Zion, space the floor, but then can really provide, some good help there on defense. And at this point in the draft, I'm not really seeing that player. So that's where it gets a bit tough for me. I think I'm probably just going to go with Dariq Whitehead of Duke.
Wow.
If you look into his high school tape, he showed some real elite athleticism. Also was kind of a product of some early injuries, getting pegged into a super small role at Duke. I think immediately, day one, he basically is going to have the first season of AJ Griffin as a floor for Atlanta, and he was really good for Atlanta. And I think there's a lot more to plumb from a ball handling creation standpoint, and I think he can be a better defender than he was able to show in a pretty limited role at Duke. So feeling pretty good about Dariq Whitehead for the New Orleans Pelicans. Not going to have a big role again, but that I think kind of balances immediate need with some more potential to plumb.
Kind of a big upside pick, to be honest. All right, let's see. Zach, you are up at 15 for Atlanta. The Quinn Snyders.
the Snyderverse. Who knows what's going to be happening with this team this year? The trade rumors are already heating up. Are they going to be looking for a secondary creator to play with DeJounte Murray? Who knows what this team looks like? I think I'm kind of in they maybe try to move off of Trey train, and I think I'm not as high on him as like the Tankathon board has him going at 11, but I think at 15, picking up Bryce Sensabaugh is a good pick, kind of a certified bucket getter, creator. I think if you got to throw somebody next to a DeJounte Murray, I think he's a nice guy to kind of take some of the load off of him. Decent size and pretty nice player. I'd be
I like that
excited,
backcourt pairing.
Yeah, he's nice. He's got some real. I mean, he's one of those guys you watch him play, and you're like, I could see it in the NBA. You know, if it translates, he could be really good.
Yeah, I think he's a solid starter. Like no question. I don't know what his ceiling is, but I think he's going to be a solid bucket getter in the league.
I think so too. Okay, let's see. So 16. Nate, you are picking for the Utah Jazz. No pressure. Number 16. We didn't get it because the Wolves decided to beat the Thunder. We would have been getting someone nicer, but Nate, who are we getting at 16 for the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, so this is kind of a luxury pick for the Jazz, assuming they don't package it somehow and trade it with the 28th pick. I think the Jazz look at Colin Sexton kind of with I don't know if they see him as long term. So I think this is really a spot for the Jazz where they could reach a little bit. Maybe it's not really a reach, but I would say they're going to take Jalen Hood-Schifino as a point guard.
Jalen Hood-Schifino, I like it. Nice. Sorry, I cut you off. Did you? Let's see.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, I think they can take a little bit of a flyer, even though he played at Indiana. He displayed good skills as a combo guard. So I think that's a perfect fit for them.
You know what? I like it. You know, we're all SLC Dunk. We write about the Jazz, so obviously we all have opinions. I like. He's one of those guys that where you watch him and you're like, he's not like gonna jump off the screen with like an explosive dunk. You know, he's not Ja Morant. He's not like lighting up threes like Steph Curry, but he's one of those guys that kind of does everything well. You know, he's a smart basketball player. And the nice thing too is he's got nice size. Like he's 6'6". I mean, we'll see at the combine. By the way, we got that news today that after 2024, players are required to provide measurements if they want to get drafted. I love that.
Measurements, medicals, interviews. All the teams will have all the same information, and since it's taking place at the combine, a lot of us, amateurs will start getting that information trickled in. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, there's no hiding, because sometimes you'll see listed at 6'6". Is that his without shoes? Is it with shoes? Is he actually like 6'4"? Those types of things. It's like once you finally see him on the court, like that's one thing I really loved Isaac Okoro. But then when you saw him in summer league, I was like, oh, he looks like he's barely taller than Donovan Mitchell, and it just changes who a player is. If Isaac Okoro is 4 inches taller, he's like a different player. But if you have these guys that don't show up at the combine, you don't see that, and obviously they try to hide it. Anyways, kind of squirreled there a little bit, but I like the pick. Jalen Hood-Schifino, I think, could be really solid. Let's see. So he goes to 16. Now we're going to the Los Angeles Lakers, and that's me. I get to pick for the Lakers.
This is your punishment for being blessed with the number 1 pick and the Jazz's 9 pick.
Yeah. You know what? I was watching him today, and I think he's actually getting a little underrated with what he brings. He's not what his brother is, Keenan Murray, but I'm going to pick Chris Murray for the Lakers here at 17. I think he's kind of an underrated prospect. He does like the things you want a player to do in the NBA. He does well. So he can spot up and shoot the three. I don't remember what exactly his percentages are, but when you see him shoot it, you see the form there that could be a solid NBA form. He defends well. He has good size. He seems like a smart player. So I'm picking Chris Murray for the Lakers, and I think he plays off of LeBron. He plays off of, like Schroeder and whoever they have there. I think he's a nice pickup for them and defends. Kind of a perfect player to play off of LeBron, who's at least going to be there next year. So, all right, let's see. Adam, you are at, is it 18 for the Miami Heat?
And I am just tickled pink right now because I mentioned at the last pick that there was still somebody in my tier 3 with who hadn't been picked yet, and he's still available. And I actually think that this is a good pairing for him. If I'm the Miami Heat, I'm taking G.G. Jackson out of South Carolina right now, the youngest player in the draft, currently measuring in at 6'9". He is just barely 18 years old. He's already filled out. He is a wing forward. I think he probably defends forwards, and as on offense, I think he's a wing. He generates just incredible amounts of space for a South Carolina team when he was the one and only guy on the scouting report for the other team, and still they couldn't stay in front of him and couldn't bother his shots. No, the shots didn't fall, but like I said, he played a good portion of the season at 17 against 20, 21-year-olds in the SEC, a really tough conference. I think he showed a lot, and I think you put him in Miami with a great development coach like Eric Spoelstra, that culture. I think he ushers in a new era for Miami, and I see if things break right for him, I think he's Chris Middleton, and that's just an awesome building block.
Nice pick. He's kind of the big swing for the fences guy. I mean, there's some people that had him even in like the top 10 at times. And then there's people that are just like, stay away. So he could be just an absolute home run. He's one of those that I'm going to watch. I'm just going to be like, I want to see what happens with him because a lot of people love to talk about. All right, let's see. So now, let's see. We just did pick 18. So now we're at 19, and this is Zach. And you are, it's 19. Yeah. So you are picking for the Golden State Warriors. Who's going to play with Domantas Sabonis stomping Draymond Green? Golden State Warriors.
Listen, Sabonis pulled his leg. Where else? He had to put his foot somewhere, right? That was.
I guess so.
Yeah. The Warriors always with some controversy. You gotta love playoff basketball when Draymond Green is involved. The Warriors' war room is in shambles right now. We thought G.G. Jackson was falling. We're scrambling here. We forgot Adam's a G.G. guy. So I think, man, if you're the Warriors, I may go with a Ryan Rupert. May go for some defense. Long guy, high upside. I don't think that's a bad pick for them, and I think they have a lot of faith in their player development there to get him up to speed on the offensive end of things and put him in their system. So I think I like him for the Warriors there.
He is, you know what? He's got like all the physical traits of someone that could be really nice. Yeah, he's one of those like, all of a sudden in 5 years we're like Ryan Rupert was like, is that how you say it? Because he's French. Is that how it's said?
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that like, if he was the best player no one's going to be better than Wembanyama. But if he's like the second best player, it's like, well, why didn't we see that coming? I don't know. Let's see. So now we have at 20, we have Nate. You are picking for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, and if I'm the Houston Rockets, I am thrilled that we got to this point in the draft, and Jordan Hawkins, national championship UConn, is still on the board. Right. I'm going to take some Jordan Hawkins, get some shooting on my team. I think he slides in really nicely next to Scoot, and I think that's who they go with. I would pick if I were them.
He is. That's a nice pickup. He's kind of a plug and play that could really go anywhere and just play well. Okay, let's see. Is it my turn? Let's see. I'm at 21, and it's the first of 2 picks for the Nets. You know what? There's a few guys that have really kind of dropped here. They've got to be pretty happy. Let's see. I just want to make sure. I'm looking at this. I'm not missing somebody. There's two guys I really kind of like still at this point. But I'm going to just take the guy that's kind of dropped. I think, you know what? Go for it. He can be a really big time scorer. Jet Howard. I don't know if he fits perfectly with what they do. And I don't know if he's bringing a lot of defense, but he can sure score. And he has like a lot of potential just as a scorer. So I'm going to go with Jet Howard for the Nets just because I think he's probably their next best player on the board. Let's see. Now we're at 22. The Nets get to pick again. Adam, you are picking for the Nets again, or at least for the second time in a row.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. The Brooklyn Nets are flush with wings and forwards. They've got a lot of great size. They've got a lot of guys who are two-way, have a bunch of two-way ability. They've also got a guy in Nick Claxton who's really shown out as a defender this year. I kind of feel like they need a connector, somebody who will make that extra pass but will score when needed, just kind of gets everybody playing their best, that type of thing. And I had my eye on Kobe Buffkin for this pick.
Yeah.
He currently shares a team with the guy you just picked with Brooklyn's first pick, Jet Howard on Michigan. But as I look through who's available on the board and in the right tiers, I think I got to go with Kobe Buffkin for this pick for Brooklyn. I think Kobe is really solid all around, and he got better as the year went on. I think he can play spot up shooter. I think he can handle his own defensively against guards, and I think he can actually handle and create his own shot in spurts. So I'm going to go with Kobe Buffkin, even though it's a little strange to have him and Jet headed to Brooklyn after sharing the floor in Michigan.
You know what? Why not? They know each other. All right, let's see. So we've got Kobe Buffkin. I really like him. When I was watching him today, actually, just kind of prepping for this, and he does a lot of things. He's pretty nice.
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
Zach, you are at 23 for Portland.
All right. Double checking my guys still on the board. Yeah. Okay. So Portland, I'm looking for somebody to slot in. I'm trying to get off Nurkic, make one more run here with Dame. Nurkic isn't working out. I think I love the idea of grabbing Derek Lively here. It's a mobile rim protector with some athleticism that's been lacking at that position for them for a couple of years now. I think they'd be pretty excited. Get a lob threat in there for Dame to play with too. I'd be pretty excited, I think, at that point for Portland.
Yeah, he's been pretty nice. Okay. Definitely a better defender with their defense that's just not very good. I mean, he can definitely protect the rim. Okay, so let's see. Let's see, where are we at? So we just picked 23. So 24, Nate, you are up, and you are picking for the Sacramento Kings.
Yes. So this one is a tough one. I think for the Kings, they're having a really good season, obviously. I think in this spot, I would say they probably want more shooting. So I would pick Colby Jones at this point.
Colby Jones. All right.
From Xavier. I think he would fit in. They have Davion Mitchell, but he's more of a defensive wing, and I think he would fit in nicely next to De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, nice size too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So Colby Jones. All right, so it's now my turn. I'm at 25. I am picking for the Memphis Grizzlies. All right, so I think this guy there's a little bit of a ceiling with this guy, but the things he does do, I think he can be even better at. It kind of reminds me, there's a hint of like Vando with this guy. I'm going to pick Leonard Miller for the Memphis Grizzlies just because he's just another guy that can come in, and I think he'll be a solid NBA player. I don't know if he's going to be a star, but I think there's a high floor there with Leonard Miller, and so that's who I'm going with. All right, let's see. So, Adam, you are at 26. You are picking for the Indiana.
Yeah, so I'm just going to refresh really quickly here. I think Indiana they went with who was
Who'd
it?
they go with?
Well,
I
they
think it
got
was
Jarris
Jarris Walker
at seven.
earlier. Yeah. So they went with Jarris Walker, a forward, who can guard forward and the big position at different points throughout the game. Two-way guy. They've already got the guard line pretty well, wrapped up with Benedict Mathurin, with Buddy Hield, and with their stellar all-star now in what's his name? Gosh dang it. Anyways, that dude.
So Halliburton?
Yeah, Halliburton. So I have two guys left in my tier 4 that ends at the 22nd pick. So being right here at 26, there's one guy who I have 14th on my board, Maxwell Lewis out of Pepperdine.
I like him. I was hoping he'd be there for me.
6'7" wing. He still needs to fill out a little bit, but I love his mix of size, athleticism, just general agility, coordination, all that package I love, and he actually shoots pretty well. So I'm really excited about Maxwell Lewis at 26 for the Indiana Pacers. I think he'll slot in really well immediately next to Halliburton, Walker, Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, Benedict Mathurin. I think he's gonna come in and contribute right away, and there's actually a bit of ceiling there that you can go after.
Awesome pick. Okay, so we got Maxwell Lewis. Zach, you are on the board for 27 for Charlotte.
All right. Oh gosh, Charlotte is a mess. I just took a glance at their roster. Whoop. Sorry, Charlotte fans. I think I like a guy who I've liked. Maybe I just have a thing for big men at Duke, but I like Kyle Filipowski. Bringing a legit 7-footer for these guys. They don't really have. I think Kai Jones is just shy of 7 feet, but bring in a skilled big that has a lot of upside offensively anyway, and plays hard on defense, even though he may not have that elite athleticism. I think he's shown a lot of effort and kind of a positional defender, maybe not an elite rim protector, but certainly not a minus on that end. So I think at that point I'm happy getting Filipowski.
Solid. All right.
So
let's see. Nate,
we might actually need
Zach
to make a reselection. Kyle Filipowski will be returning to Duke and redeclaring.
Oh, is he going back
draft.
to Duke?
Yeah,
that's why he wasn't showing up on Tankathon.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, how do I spell this
why
name?
he'd fallen out. Well, that's wow. Woof. Okay. Oh boy. Reselection. Let's go with. I'll go just best player available. Then a guy like City Sissoko. Sissoko? Is that how you say his last name?
City
I
Sissoko.
like him a lot. I'm bummed he's not falling to the Jazz at the next pick here, but he's I think he's really underrated in this draft. And if the Jazz could end up getting him at 28, I think that'd be a huge boon for our boys. But I'll go City for the Hornets at 27.
Nice. All right, let's see. So next we have Nate. You are at 28 for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I'm just hitting on all the Jazz picks today. I don't know if that's a sign or something. No, I'm just kidding. So again, assuming that Danny Ainge has not got something up his sleeve this draft, I would go at this point. It's kind of a flyer, but at this point in the first round, everything is, I think. But Trace Jackson Davis, I think when I watch him play, reminds me a little bit of Paul Millsap. Not really exactly like him, but he can facilitate. I like his passing for a big man. Doesn't really shoot great, but I think that's something where with Utah's development staff and coaching staff, I wouldn't be surprised if they can make him at least respectable. And so that's who I'd go with at 28.
Ah, nice pick. You know what? You just look at the raw numbers, though. Really solid. I'm not going to lie. I don't know anything about some of these last few guys. I am next on the board. I am going to just go with the guy. And, you hear about this guy because he's with Victor Wembanyama. I'm picking on let's see, who am I picking for? I'm at 29. I'm picking for the Pacers. This is just a pure upside swing for the fences pick. I'm going to pick Bilal Coulibaly just because he's got size, length, and those types of guys are the types of guys that I would pick if I'm picking at like 29. I also don't know anything about him. So
another guy with awesome size, really fluid, 6'8", 7'2" wingspan. Again, already filled out, only 18 and a half. Super, super fluid, mega athlete. Just dominated the junior division, the junior league for the Metropolitans 92, and has really started, seeing a lot of limelight playing with Victor.
With Victor. Well, what Adam said, basically. So
and so now
right.
The Clippers are up, and I'm the Clippers, and am pining over missing out on Bilal. Unfortunately, I think he would have totally, matched what their kind of archetype for certain players are. Without Bilal, though, there are a couple options here. Noah Clowney from Alabama. He also kind of fits what the Clippers want to do. I think that there's, a guy like James Nagy that they could be interested in, Brandon Podziemski. But the guy I'm really going to go after is Andre Jackson from UConn, just won a national championship. This guy, I think, I think he's got an awkward shot, but it was actually pretty consistent, and he's got a lot of confidence with it. But what really makes him special, in my opinion, are his defensive abilities and instincts combined with his prolific passing. And I think that he could really unlock some awesome stuff for the Los Angeles Clippers. Kind of play right away, been in a lot of big games, played with a lot of great players, and shined all the way through. So I'm going Andre Jackson for the LA Clippers.
Nice. Well, that's the draft. That's the first round, guys. That was pretty fun. We went through that relatively quickly. So thanks for everyone jumping on. Everyone did a great job. I think that's you know what? That's kind of a draft. Well, the reason I like this draft is because I could see it falling that way. And I'm not going to lie. If Anthony Black is there at 9, I know someone in the comments was saying we should have got Taylor Hendricks. I'm pretty stoked. So I don't know. But guys, thank you for joining. That was a blast. I'll post this on SLC Dunk, so if anyone wants to re-listen to it, it'll be there. I'll post our picks there as well. So this will probably go up tomorrow at some point. Thanks, guys, for joining. That was a blast.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was great getting some new perspectives on a few people.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.